The New York Jets completed day number 1 of mandatory minicamp, and in this video, I got to break down all the things you need to know what happened at One Jets Drive. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're new to Jets Media. I got you covered all summer long, of course, into the season of Jets content. Been enjoying making content throughout this entire OTA process, right into mandatory minicamp. And soak this in, folks, because when mandatory camp ends this week, all of a sudden, there's going to be a long wait before we get to talk about what's going on the practice field when training camp begins at the end of July, early August. So welcome into the show. Welcome into Jets Media. Don't forget to subscribe, of course, if you're new. Hit that like button if you enjoy. Comment your thoughts of your biggest takeaways from the New York Jets at mandatory minicamp. Really do appreciate all the support you guys have been showing here on the channel throughout this entire, since I started, really. I really am excited to talk about this team right here in this video because mandatory minicamp tells you, number one, the attendance is the first note that you got to bring up. Are there any holdouts? You see all across the NFL, this player's not there. TJ Watt, Terry McLaurin, all these guys are holding out for contracts. Well, the New York Jets currently have players that are looking for new contracts, but that's not the case in terms of those specific players holding out. The Jets had 100% attendance yet again. It's mandatory. This is expected. This is the baseline of what we should hope for. But we all remember last year when Aaron Rodgers was not at mandatory camp and he was in Egypt. So it drove a lot of Jets fans, a lot of people around the NFL out of control when he did not show up. So it's a good sign that guys like Sauce Gardner is there when he's trying to get a brand new deal. Garrett Wilson's there trying to get a brand new deal. They are all in with this Jets football team. We've been feeling that during the voluntary period where these guys don't have to be there, but there's 100% participation in majority of the voluntary workouts at OTAs. Then I was expecting 100% attendance for mandatory minicamp, and that just tells you, number one, they are believing what Aaron Glenn is preaching. They are excited about the idea of having a brand new system, a brand new mindset in here, brand new quarterback. Everything's new, and I feel like us as fans, we should latch on to this team just like the players are latching on to Aaron Glenn. Just be hopeful, support them, and whatever happens, happens. And I'm really excited to see what comes forward. So let's get into what happened on the practice field outside of, people being there and showing up, which is a great sign. And the media was there, so we heard from Aaron Glenn, and we got a good idea of what happened on the practice field. So according to Connor Hughes of SNY, who was there, of course, he said the first day of Jets minicamp was a light one. There were 2 series, the only ones for Justin Fields. He went 6 of 11, and there were 2 sacks by Will McDonald and Quinnen Williams. One of the incompletions was a clock. So we're going to get into some details what happened with these plays, and according to Aaron Glenn, he said he was very impressed with Justin Fields today in running an offense, going down the football field in 2 minutes, pushing the ball down the field to kick a field goal. And he actually said, Aaron Glenn, his words were something along the lines of his favorite play that Justin Fields made today, and he had a lot of nice throws. It wasn't a throw. It was him throwing the ball out of bounds because he scrambled outside of the pocket, looking down the field. Nobody was open. So instead of forcing it and potentially turning the ball over, he smartly threw the ball out of bounds. It's the boring play, but Aaron Glenn said that was the best play because then it set up for another positive play the next time, and then Carlson was the man to get the field goal for the New York Jets in that specific series, and that's a winning play in Aaron Glenn's mind. So little behind the scenes of what Aaron Glenn's looking for in Justin Fields, and maybe you don't always have to make, the crazy explosive plays. Just be smart, throw the ball out of bounds, live to fight for another down. So that's interesting to hear Aaron Glenn highlight that from Justin Fields. But let's talk about a little bit more about what happened and 11 on 11. Shout out to Zach Rosenblatt of The Athletic for this post on X. Make sure you guys go follow him. And let's go through it. Justin Fields' first run of 11 on 11. Great pass down the sideline to Garrett Wilson over Brandon Stevens. So this was the first pass of the whole practice, I believe. Justin Fields opened up with a perfect pass down the field near the sideline, came out firing right away. That's what we want, right? When we go into this season, I want the Jets to give Garrett Wilson the ball in the first snap of offense. In the first quarter, the Jets win the toss. First play, throw it to Garrett Wilson, baby. Of course, we want to establish a run game and all that, but I'm just really fired up for G5 this year. So cool to see them already attacking Brandon Stevens on defense and giving the ball to Garrett Wilson early on. The next play, Will McDonald came in for the sack. That's definitely fitting my narrative that I'm pushing, that Will McDonald is the guy that's going to break out the most out of anybody on this team. I think if there's one guy that's going to be the most improved, I think it's going to be Will McDonald. And that may be crazy because last year he was fantastic. He had 10.5 sacks. But like I've said multiple times, I think he is destined to have one of those breakout seasons. I think his talent, his athleticism, his ability to gain 15 pounds of muscle, and his experience, and now getting confidence in himself, he's got star potential. He's a first-round pick for a reason. I'm excited to see what Will McDonald's going to do. It's a sack in minicamp, not a big deal, but it just goes to show you he's making plays on the practice field. Then the next third play was Garrett Wilson with an impressive catch over Sauce Gardner, who made sure to let him down. He was short of a first down on third down. So there we go. Garrett Wilson versus Sauce Gardner all over again. This has been, what is this, year number 4 of this matchup. Let's hope we can get these two guys locked up long term so we can see this matchup at practice for years to come. But it's cool to see this matchup as well. Garrett Wilson getting the better of Sauce, but at the end of the day, maybe Sauce won this one because he didn't get by him. He tackled him, two-hand touch, there's no pads, and did not give him the first down, so it was third down, and Sauce made sure he let him know that. The next snap was a bad one by Joe Tippmann, and there was no play. Now, this definitely fits into that narrative of the competition at center between Myers and Tippmann, and it's Tippmann's job right now. He's running with the starters, but the Jets bringing in Myers, maybe it could be, in the head of Joe Tippmann. And by the way, we saw this an issue last year. Remember at camp when Joe Tippmann was just had this errant snaps? Like, Joe Tippmann's really good when it comes to blocking, pass protection, run blocking, but for whatever reason, the snaps, he gets the yips. So that's definitely, hopefully not going to be an issue this year. The next one was a completion down the right sideline to Garrett Wilson, though I think Fields might have been sacked by Rashad Weaver. So it's hard to evaluate the trenches in minicamp because there's no pads, but yet again, that's 3 targets to Garrett Wilson. Notice who he's trying to throw the ball to. It's obviously always to Garrett Wilson. The next play was an incomplete pass to Breece Hall. Good coverage from Michael Carter II. Great sign to see MC2, man. That's a forgotten piece of this defense that I feel like a lot of Jets fans forgot about just because of his injury last year, right? We didn't get to see him play the usual dominant slot cornerback, and he got a big contract extension right before the season last year, and then he didn't have, a season up to par that we were expecting because he was dealing with injuries. So I'm excited for MC2 and see what he looks like with Aaron Glenn. And then we saw Justin Fields have a run, right, which is always great to see. He's definitely going to be someone to run the football a lot. Then he had the pass batted down the line, and then an Andres Carlson field goal. All right, so I'm really excited to see this offense and this defense go after each other at training camp when the pads go on and see it with my own eyes. But here's a little glimpse of what it looked like at minicamp. And shout out to Zach Rosenblatt for giving us a breakdown play-by-play on 11 on 11. Another play that happened that I wanted to highlight is Sauce Gardner had a pass breakup on Justin Fields' throw that was intended for Allen Lazard. Sauce had him draped up. It's funny, right? You throw the ball to Lazard, Sauce is all over him. Like, there's no shot. Sauce is easily clamping up Allen Lazard. But when they target to Garrett Wilson gets the catch. Notice the difference between Garrett Wilson and Allen Lazard. A little bit harder for Sauce Gardner to guard Garrett Wilson than an Allen Lazard. Not crazy that Sauce is locking up Lazard. He's not a guy that runs routes at an elite level, not someone that I'm expecting. But cool to see that. Definitely to see Sauce Gardner making some plays. But that's really going to wrap it up at minicamp. It was a lighter day, as Connor Hughes said. We heard from Aaron Glenn. We're hearing from a lot of players, and I'm just really excited to see what's to come from minicamp. You guys feel free to comment down below your thoughts about what you took away from day 1 of Jets minicamp. Make sure you guys hit the like button if you did not already, and comment down below a Jet emoji if you stayed until the end. I'm always curious to see how many people actually watch my videos until this moment you're watching it. So appreciate you if you're watching right now. It really means a lot to me. Hit the like button, comment your thoughts. Let's go Jets, and I'll see you next time, folks. Peace.